Hey guys, it's Lantern again, bringing you another Zoo matchup. Um, Played a couple matchups today. One against Bant, which I got really unlucky, and I'm not going to show you guys that one. And one against Affinity, and then a couple weird ones that aren't worth making videos on. But I'm continuing trying to get all of the major archetypes against at least my version of Gruul of Zoo, so that way I can put that in the primer. And it's the same deck as last time. Nothing's changed. I'm going to highlight a few things for this Affinity matchup so that you know what's going on. There's a wonderful article, if you guys haven't read it. I'm not really into reading a lot of articles about Magic the Gathering. I'd rather just play. But there is an article out there by, I believe, Mike Flores, Who's the Beatdown? And it's one of the rare few articles that I quote all the time. If you're an aggro player, you need to read this. You need to have this understanding, or else you're going to lose your games sometimes. It's just the way it is. And in that article, he talks about who is the beatdown in certain matchups. There are times when you're playing a tempo deck, but you're not tempoing against a control deck if you're playing a tempo deck. You're being an aggro deck. You're trying to go as hard and fast as possible. Even control games don't do that against combo decks. They're still reactive. They can still stop a combo, but they're at least trying to put a clock on you as early as possible. You might even see them, for example, flash in a turn 2 Snapcaster Mage and just keep swinging with it because they know the combo deck's got no way to deal with it. In the meantime, they're going to try to control their game out as long as possible. This still applies to aggro decks. In aggro versus aggro mirrors, sometimes you as an aggro deck are not playing an aggro deck. You are playing a control deck. It's a weird concept, but it's very important, especially against the Affinity matchup. Affinity is more explosively fast than you are, but also at the same rate, they're more fragile. And because they are a turn or two faster than you, you need to realize you are the control matchup in this. You're going to be using your creatures more as removal, and you're going to be using your removal as removal. You're not dedicated to ending the opponent within the first couple turns or you die. Zoo is one of these beautiful decks that it can turn into a control deck versus another aggro deck. And in Gruul Zoo, it's a little harder because you're more focused on being a hyper aggro deck rather than just an aggro deck with burn. But Zoo historically has always been very good against other aggro decks because they are able to turn their burn into removal and turn their big dudes with big butts into moats. And then just start swinging with one beatdown creature. And that's how you win against the robots deck. And the important cards to remember are Gore Clan is pseudo removal. You swing into a bad block. Or you lay him down as a 4/4 with trample, because that's usually enough to kill any of their non-flyers. Thalia is good because she's got first strike, and doesn't matter if they've got a plating on one of their dudes, she will still kill it. Bolt kills their stuff dead, kills their flying stuff dead, kills their man lands dead. Path to Exile kills their man lands, gets rid of their other stuff no matter how powerful it is. Domri is removal here again, too. You want to use him as removal, even if it's at the cost of your creature. Pillar of Flame is removal. It's actually pretty good removal. Come sideboard, we've got, and I usually side this in, Deglamour. Deglamour is great because it kills things like plating. They sort of rely on plating to win. But aside from using it on plating, you can use it on creatures. Actually make them just shuffle it away and say, nope, sorry, dude. Path to Exile on the side, even more removal. Volcanic Fallout can sweep a game. And all of these things you'll be seeing. That's why I like this one, and I'm going to record this one, is because this game specifically had these awesome plays and to show what Gruul Zoo really needs to do to win against the Affinity deck. while we're on the topic of Affinity, I like the name Affinity more than I like the name Robots because Affinity denotes the back history of what the deck went through. Thus, I think it's more flavorful. Even though Robots is kind of a cool name, the fact that it's like about these robots. But I don't know. When I think of robots, I think of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which this is not. So here we go. I win the roll. Always a good thing with our deck. And I see two experimental, one hand with a burning tree. It's a risky keep, but I'm gonna keep it anyways because if I draw anything like a Curd Ape, it becomes a worthwhile hand. He's got a pretty good hand here. It can't spill out as fast as I think he'd like it to, but he's running the Affinity version too. This is more of a legacy version. In modern, your Affinity is generally more of a like a put your bets on things like plating and Etch Champion. Anyways, I make a mess up here. I want you guys just to know what this misplay was, and I regretted it for a couple turns, but I still managed to pull out the victory. I cast Experiment 1 here and then a Curd Ape and swing with my 2/2s. What I should have done was Burning Tree Emissary to get that a point, then cast the Experiment 1 off the green, then cast the Curd Ape. If I had another, this is better only if you have another Curd Ape or Loom Lion in hand. I did not, and I made a mistake, and I sort of was just playing really fast and didn't realize it. Still, this is enough to pull through. The cool thing is I got these Gore Clan Rampagers, so I'm realizing with these Gore Clan, especially against the Affinity deck with no removal, I'm the aggro right here. And he stumbled. He had a Ornithopter and a Darksteel Citadel. Either or, you know, like, again, he stumbled. And he's going for the plating right away. Which means he's not nearly as explosive as he needed to be. That's something to say for the Affinity deck. The Affinity deck can be super fast, super strong, super efficient. But sometimes it's just weak in the fact that it can't do what it needs to do. So here he's going to block with Frogmite. Or he's just going to take the damage. I can't remember. I believe he blocks with the Frogmite, thinking that, well, he'll still get enough damage off the cranial plating here that it does not really matter. I'm going to Rampager here and go over him for 4. Very easily, and this, by the way, Rampager, even if he did not block, would set him down to 8, which is awful for him. Now he's down to 10. It's still a good place for me to be. I just knocked away a good chunk of his life total and said, like, I'm going to set you on pressure. I'm going to make it so that attacking is not a good option for you. Something interesting to note here, he's got red cards in hand, Shrapnel Blast and Galvanic Blast. 2 cards I really like in this deck. But no real way to do it. He's got no Springleaf Drums, he's got no mana that makes colored mana for him. So he's going to end up doing this and swinging for a lot. And I believe... Oh, he doesn't even turn... Yeah, he keeps his Inkmoth Nexus up to block if need be. So I cracked my land here, got myself... See, I could have been attacking for an extra 2 and an extra 3rd point here if I did the play that I described earlier. Mostly because I've got to spend my mana towards Gore Clan. But I'm going to keep swinging all out. And he can block if he wants. It's just, we're setting up for a catch-22. Here he's going to think he can do the trade, slow me down, maybe Shrapnel Blast. He's got the cranial plating with an Inkmoth Nexus to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infect and kill me in 2 turns. I think that's his plan, but my plan is to drop him down to enough that even if he wants to have any chance of winning, it's not going to happen. And again, that Rampage is going to let me survive the block, so I still get to be attacking for 6 a turn. He's got 2. He really needs to draw a red source to Galvanic Blast my creature, but now I put out the Burning Tree Emissary. Even if he Galvanic Blasts one of my creatures and then Shrapnel Blasts another one, and blocks with an Ink Moth Nexus. That is still going to be 2 damage soaking through, and it's over for him. Moving on to here, we've got a better game, I think, because it definitely lasts a little bit longer, and it's a toss-up as who's going to win. And I have to do I do a very daring move in order to keep myself in this control matchup. You're going to see I drop down to 5 in this one. So there he goes. He's going to play his Volt Scourge, get some life gain. Now I see that I've got a Pillar Flame here, and I've got I got nothing else. So Pillar Flame's a good idea for Volt Scourge. Not right away though. I'm going to need to put out a beater so that I can beat him down. And I should point out that I sided in every single one of my removals that I said earlier, and what I took out was Burning Tree Emissaries and Thalia, because I want to be able to cast my removal. Then he draws a land, which he needs. He's going to go ahead and, I believe, yeah, and he gut shots my Experiment 1, so that does not grow. I'm going to go ahead and Plating and swing for 1, bring him back up to 17. Life gain's bad against this deck, but so long as you can wipe the board, which is what you need to do in this matchup, you're fine. And that's exactly what I get. I get a Volcanic Fallout. And I figured, I was going to be able to deal with the Volt Scourge anyways. Yeah, he's going to try to want to end this game, mostly because I'm going to have dudes with giant butts that he can't really, he's going to have to waste his removal on it. I don't think he thinks that he's going to survive the Volt Scourge for very long. So he's going to be going all out to gain life, so to pull me out of the game as much as possible, especially since I've got gas and he does not. So he's going to do things like activate Ink Moth Nexus. Now when I see, because I could have Pillar Flamed him, but I was holding it off because I wanted to see whether he would activate the Ink Moth Nexus or not, and I can stand being hit for a couple. And he did activate the Ink Moth Nexus to get the extra damage in there for Cranial Plating. He does that next time, and he's going to be up shit's creek because Volcanic Fallout's going to hit his Ink Moth, and it's going to save me the fact that I'm going to need instant speed removal for that Manland. So he's going to be gaining up to 22. That exists. I know that's going to be there, and I'm going ahead, crack my fetches, and have them intapped so I save life. Again, I'm the control matchup. I have not done any aggressing yet. I put out some creatures that could possibly aggress him, but I've let him slow down his game to take care of them. And him slowing down his game to take care of them is fine by me. Again, Pyroclasm or Volcanic Fallout makes everything survive. I just let the game go. I'm sure he's wondering what the hell's going on. He ends up casting his guy and going to pump this so that he'll be swinging in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here and really bring me down to crap. But there we go. I got the land base, and I say Volcanic Fallout. I'm going to drop down to 8. That's fine with me. There goes that dude. There goes that dude. There goes that dude. And your life goes down to 20. He's going to go ahead and Shrapnel Blast here, which is fine. I mean, you're going to lose most of your artifacts aside from that guy, and you want to keep those. You might as well Shrapnel Blast. So I'm going to drop down to 3. That's right. I'm not even at 5. I'm at 3. Putting myself in sort of harm's way, anyways. So here's the deal. Next turn, I'm going to do something that's debatable. I'm going to crack my fetch. And the reason I'm going to crack my fetch is because I figure there is... with Shrapnel Blast is usually a 2-of in someone's deck. He's got a Gut Shot, which does 1 damage, so he might have some Gut Shots, and he might have Lightning Bolts, and he's probably got some stuff. He's got some burn spells in his deck, but I figure I'm dead to Lightning Bolt, I'm dead to Shrapnel Blast. I'd rather have the mana right now to be able to put some aggression out there and end the game in as soon as possible, rather than to give him various amounts of draw phases. So here I'm swinging in here, and I still got the Pillar of Flame too. I figure If he draws any sort of creature, it's fine. I can Pillar of Flame it. Conserving at Pillar of Flame to make sure that he doesn't get a chance to block any of my critters. And that means I'm on aggro now. Now I've got the control. I've situated my control. It's time to be aggressive. I gotta draw Declaimer again. More removal. I told you with my side, I'm siding upwards to about 17 removal spells in basically. It's easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the Memnite here. Cradle Plating is not a problem because, he doesn't have another creature yet to deal with it, and I have a Declaimer should I need it. And he's got nothing with haste in it. So it's like I'm going to have a turn anyways to do the Declaimer. Attack all out. It's going to drop him down to 9. I have 3, 6, 7, 8 points of damage. He gets the Volt Scourge out. The only way he can cast his Volt Scourge to block is to take some damage. And he's going to put the Cradle Plating on again. And that's fine. He takes the 2 damage that I need. I've got 8 damage. He's now down to 7. The game's over. I've got the Declaimer to get rid of his Volt Scourge and swing for the win. That's pretty much how you have to do the Affinity matchup. I liked this match specifically because it was some tight technical play in order for it to really do its sort of end game. And that's what you got to do against robots. Sure, you can hope they stumble, and that's great for you if they stumble. But remember that your sideboard can turn yourself into a removal deck. And in that fact, all you really need is 1 or 2 creatures to end the game. Anywho, guys, thanks for listening. That's Lantern, and I'll be adding this to the primer. Let's see if we can get any more matchups on there.